Well, as you said, it's been 31 days of trying to impact people's lives positively, trying to help people to ascend to a higher and a better level of living.
Okay.
Basically, what you and I and all the other presenters have aimed to do is to make people effective and to make people more successful, so that they can start their year right. And today being the last edition of the Effective Living series, what I'm seeking to do this morning is to bring it all home, to basically summarize all the lessons that all the different speakers have said, and ask the question, what does it mean for me listening to the show, and how do I change my habits, my routines, and what I've been doing this year so that I can be more effective, I can be more successful.
Brilliant.
So I'm doing a series, a very crazy piece, but I call it Lessons from 19 Years of Driving on Ghana's Roads and its Implications for Personal Success.
Can you repeat this again?
Basically, I'm going to share driving lessons and what it means for personal success.
Driving lessons?
That's right.
As in driving a car?
Yes, driving a car. You know, I learned how to drive 19 years ago. I had just then started as a salesman at Originate, what later came to be Originate. Okay. And we had a driver called Francis Asa. Francis, God bless you wherever you are. He taught me how to drive.
Wow.
And every Sunday he will come for me. Then we'll be driving around the American Embassy in Laboni, because that's a more quieter part of town. And you know, we went through a lot, but eventually I got it, and then I started taking a car. Now in the period since, I've driven to almost every part of Ghana. I've driven and worked in almost every part of Ghana. I've been to as far as Tumu. Now, what have I learned being on the roads? And you know, one thing about me is that when I'm driving, that's where I do a lot of my thinking. When I'm traveling, that's where a lot of my inspiration and my writing comes from, as I'm in tune with nature and seeing a lot of stuff. So I've made just 6 observations, 6 lessons that I've learned from driving and from observing other drivers. And I liken it to our quest to be personally successful and to grow. So I'm going to bring these driving lessons and what it means for personal success.
Okay. While you're listening, you can send us a comment or question on 054-998-6996, and at the end of the day, we'll tell you how to get in touch if you want to go through this mentorship process.
Right. Yeah.
So let's hear you.
Good. Now, today being the last day, I didn't come empty-handed. I've also brought goodies. So I brought 10 copies of my books.
Nice.
5 copies of my book, Why Not the Best, and 5 copies of my book, Beyond the Extra Mile.
Good.
And it is yours to give out to our listeners as you please.
We'll definitely do so based on the questions that come through.
Exactly. So this is to give away. I want to bless people this morning.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Now, lesson 1. So what have I learned from driving? The first lesson in my observations is 1. Apart from the make and build of a car, the performance of a car largely depends on the driver. Now, what car do you drive, Bernard?
A Kia.
Good, a Kia.
Kia Optima.
Now you know that a taxi driver driving an old rickety model of any other car can outperform and outrun you, because he's more experienced and knows how to command the car better than you using a fresh car. So my observation is that in life, who drives you or who steers you is more important than any other determinant, any other thing. So that's my first lesson from driving on a crossroads.
It's not about the car.
It's not about the car. It's about the driver.
Interesting.
So this year, as you seek to be successful, as you seek to change your life story, as you seek to make this year your best year yet, who is in charge of your life? And I'm asking you, if you are listening to me, to develop a deep and abiding relationship with God, because that is more important than anything else to your success this year.
Wow.
So who is driving you? Who is steering you? Who is in control of your life? Who directs you? Who do you serve? Whether you believe it or not, there's a higher power who controls the affairs of men. There's a supreme being who directs our affairs, and you need to serve that God well. So this year, my first lesson from driving to you is that serve God well.
Nice.
Develop a deep and personal relationship with God, because that is more important than any other thing. It's not your job. It's not how far you progress in life or work, or how high you are climbing the corporate ladder. What matters is who is in charge of you.
That's point number 1.
Point number 1.
Let's go on.
Point number 2. Now, in the year 2000, I was driving somewhere around Osu when all of a sudden I had a very strong urge to use the washroom. Now, it can't get any worse than that when you have in the middle of heavy traffic on Osu and you have a runny tummy. So I needed to drive very recklessly to be able to get to my office. We were then at Adabraka.
Wow.
Now, if you had seen me that day, you would have said that, this guy, why does he drive rough like that? But there was something pushing me. I had a certain motivation. So my experience is that we all have different motivations in life. And we all have different things that pushes us to act at different times of our lives. So do not watch somebody's driving and drive like that.
Wow.
Be in your lane. Focus on your life. And work with your own motivations in life.
Wow.
Because you see, what may be pushing somebody at a certain point in his life may be very, very different, and you may not know. So don't say, why is this guy doing? Let me follow him. Why does he want to cut into me? No, everybody has a different motivation.
Wow.
Because what is pushing that person is different from what is pushing you.
It may be an edge to use the washroom.
Exactly. So do not, and also it is unfair to judge people with only one experience. You always need to give people the benefit of the doubt. You need to let people, because as I said, what may be pushing them at that particular moment may be very, very different.
Wow.
Now, so don't change your jobs. Don't buy a new car, don't buy new clothes, don't buy a new something simply because your colleagues, your mates, and your friends or your neighbors are all changing theirs. Because sometimes we tend to look at other people and say, hey, we are going for old school, all the guys are going to come in new car, I must go and buy it. And meanwhile, your circumstances do not allow that. What I have observed is that a lot of the stress with our lives is caused by us trying to please other people. Now, when Letitia was here, she said that most of the time we buy things we don't need to please people we don't like. And that is because the motivations that are pushing all of us are very different. So one of the biggest causes is trying to please others. Be in your lane. That's my lesson. Be in your lane. Don't try and veer into other people's lanes simply because that is what you see them do. You remember there's a tree saying that uti pupu awobidi. You understand? You hear them always plentiful, you think they are well off, but you never know the soup that they are eating the distance with. And a lot of us do that way. You see your colleagues in the office, everybody changing their cars. You want to do it. Meanwhile, your monthly salary does not allow you to do that. And then every day you give yourself stress. So this year my advice is that be in your lane, because we all have different motivations.
Brilliant. Third point.
Number 3. The car you follow, and this is a very important point, the car you follow determines your speed. Have you observed that?
Yep.
Because so sometimes your car has a capacity to go 260 kilometers per hour, but you are going at 30. Why? Because there is a wrecked car ahead of you, so you can't move. You cannot go the full haul of the capacity of your own vehicle. So the car you follow determines your speed in life.
Not the quality of your car.
Not the quality of your own car.
Not the skill of your driving.
No.
The car you follow determines your speed.
Yes, I mean, before this show, you were talking to your mates who had spent time in traffic. So their car had capacity. It is fully air conditioned. Your fuel is full gauge. Everything about the car is good. But why? You can't move because you are following other cars that are not moving. So the lesson from there is, it doesn't matter the maximum speed of your car. Sometimes the car ahead of you can determine your speed because it is not moving.
Wow.
So third lesson, who do you follow? Who is in your circle of giants?
Wow.
Who you are is a sum of your associations.
Yep.
So this year, be very careful about who you are going to follow. Because some people are very brilliant, very talented, but they are in a certain circle that do not allow them to move. It's like you are trying to run, but there's a boulder that has been tied to your leg. It prevents you, or it slows down your pace and the rate at which you can climb in life. So be very careful who you are following this year. Be very careful who you call your best friend. Be very careful because that could slow you down. That could reduce the rate, because at workplace, for instance, maybe anytime they give you a job, then your friends go, you there, you are this thing, every day they give you, then you do put it somewhere, and before you realize, it is slowing down your performance. Your bosses have started complaining because you are following the wrong car.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter your own talents, it doesn't matter your own strengths, it doesn't matter your own competences. What matters is which car are you following.
Brilliant one. So far we've received 3 life lessons from 19 years of driving by our guest Michael Onyefa. And this morning we're giving away 10 books, and we're also going to ask you to get in touch if you want to be mentored for a year. We'll choose the best person, at least the person we consider most in need of mentoring, and after 6 months we would showcase you in terms of what you've achieved. Don't forget that the first point is the performance of your car depends on you.
Yes.
So it's not about what car you are driving, it's about whether you know how to drive or not. The second one is that different things push different people while they drive. So stay in your lane and focus on your goals. Number 3, the car you follow determines how fast you go. So who are you following in life, and who is in your circle of
giants.
Influence of giants? So let's go to point number 4.
Good. There was once I was going to Kumasi, and you know that, take or leave it, the journey from Accra to Kumasi should be between 5 to 6 hours. Some people do it 4, but it depends on the time of day that you move here. Now, this point number 4 is very close to point number 3. But in one day, traveling, and it was a Saturday, so it was a particularly busy period on the Accra Kumasi road. We did Accra Kumasi in 10 hours. Because at several sections on the road we were following articulator tracks who were not moving. So once again, back to this same point, your car has capacity to do 260 240 kilometers, but for most part of the journey you are doing less than 60 kilometers. Why? Because anytime you move, you bump into this articulator. I think they were Malian articulator tracks that were heading up north to go to Mali. Now that taught me a very a big lesson in life, that bad articulator track that is slowing down your rate of progress in life could be a bad attitude, a bad friend, a bad habit, or a bad routine. So what it does for your life is that just as it slows us down, a bad attitude, a bad friend, or a bad habit could be slowing you down in life. So instead of making Accra Kumasi in 6 hours, you are making it in 10 hours. Now, some people are happy with their rate of progress in life, but years ago, remember when Africa Online was coming to Ghana, they started with an advert that said, "Your reach is more than your grabs."
Wow.
Now, don't be satisfied with one store and think that you have arrived. When your reach could be having shops in all regional capitals in this country. Don't be satisfied with conquering Ghana when your reach could be offices in West African countries, because your rate of progress has been slowed down. So when you don't do your analysis and you don't look far, it can slow you down. And a journey that should take 6 hours takes you 10 hours, which means that you are taking extra longer time to make progress or to grow in life. So this year you need to find out what one problem is preventing me from living my full life. Now you need to do another analysis. Which friends are not helping me or supporting me to grow in life? What bad routine must I change to be able to progress with my life? Because you may be making progress. Yes, you would arrive in Kumasi all right, but why spend 10 hours on the road when it can be 5 or 6? Why be satisfied with one store when you can have 4 shops or 10 shops in Accra alone, and the others in Tema, Kumasi, Takra, Tamale, and other places? So you may be making progress, but at what pace? And that is a very good question that you need to ask yourself. Are you making 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back? You have 1 store, but are you satisfied with that? You can reach Kumasi, but at what rate do you reach Kumasi?
Very interesting insights from your journeys on the road. Let's go to the 5th one.
Good. Now this happened, I think, the day I came here. I was here on the 4th.
Yes.
And this lesson is very recent. I live in Adenta, so coming here between Adenta and the Ritz Junction, there was a guy driving a Matrix. And this guy was doing, then he will move into this lane, cut into that, then overtake this guy, then overtake another guy. I mean, the guy I don't know where he was going. As you said, we all have different motivations. But the way this guy was driving and doing all this, well, he passed me and went. But I paid attention to the car and to his driving because of the way he was driving particularly bad that day. But you know what happened? When I reached Standards Board traffic light, I realized the guy was just 2 cars ahead of me.
After all
that he did, he was only 2
Standards Board.
Yes,
and this was from Ritz Junction.
This was from Ritz Junction. You know, but it taught me a lesson in life, that sometimes in life the race is not for the swift.
I tell you.
You see, so this year I'm asking you not to engage in indecent haste, but rather be strategic and tactical about what you are doing with life.
Wow.
So no giddy giddy. Relax, take your time, be methodical. Yeah. You remember in Ghana years ago when communication centers became the business of the day.
Yeah.
Everybody opened communication centers. But without any reason, without any proper analysis. It's just that, oh, sister, where are you be? Oh, you know this. And that's how we do business in Ghana. Yeah. Sometimes you see everybody buying taxis, and then you also go for a loan and buy a taxi. There's no analysis. You haven't done anything. You are just rushing because everybody is rushing. Take your time this year. Any venture you want to engage in, when Andrea Yuku was saying, he talked about it. Think carefully about the business model. Think carefully. So we are asking you to think, to stop, to analyze, and to strategize before you make a move.
Strategy over speed.
Yes, don't rush, because you rush, and then you come back again, because life will teach you a bitter lesson for repeating mistakes.